So today, I want to sit down and talk about something that's got a lot of people in the Genshin community scratching their heads, raging in comment sections, or just laughing it off as bait. I'm talking about the recent set of leaks that say Varka will be playable in version 6.4, but then tossed straight into the standard banner starting in 6.5. And alongside that, the claim that Alice will not be playable during the Nod Cry cycle. Yeah, you probably already felt your blood pressure go up hearing that, right? Because these are two characters that have been teased since the earliest days of the game, hyped for literal years, and the idea that one becomes a standard 5-star and the other doesn't even get a banner? It feels almost impossible. But let's slow down and look at this properly, because when you peel back the layers, it's not quite as black and white as fake leak or rage bait. Save up to 25% on the current banners at lootbar.gg. All you need is your UID and server. The link is in the description. First, let's talk about the source, Duma Leaks. A lot of people in the community immediately branded them as a troll. And sure, some of their earlier posts sounded weird, like the infamous Columbina's first name is Columbina moment. But here's the thing. Duma only posts about Nod Cry content, and since we're still a few patches away from 6.0, none of their claims can be verified yet. They're basically in this Schrodinger's leaker situation. They could turn out to be complete nonsense, or they could end up being the one who called something months ahead of time. And don't forget, they already hit at least one piece of lore correctly, tying Columbina to Kutar, the moon maiden worshipped by the Frost Moon Scions. That's not speculation anymore. It's confirmed by the lore. So we can't just dismiss everything they say out of hand. Now, let's deal with the elephant in the room. Varka in Standard. On paper, it sounds absurd. Varka has been hyped since 1.0 as the Grand Master of the Knights of Favonius. He's teased in dialogue, hidden in trailers, referenced by other characters, and even had his face obscured to build mystery. To then say, oh yeah, he's just another standard banner 5-star alongside John, Diluc, Mona, Chiki, Keqing, Tignari, Deya, and Mizuki, feels like Hoyo would be leaving tons of money on the table. That's the main argument you'll hear online. Why would they waste a guaranteed seller on standard? And honestly, it's a fair point. But when you look at patterns, it's not totally out of nowhere. Remember Tignari in 3.0, Dehaya in 3.6, and now Mizuki in 5.4. Hoyo does have a habit of sliding one major 5-star per region into the standard banner. And if we're being real, early leaks about Varka's kit don't paint him as some meta-breaking powerhouse. He's not looking like a Nouvelette or a Feynon who shakes the meta on release. Instead, the reports suggest his kit feels a bit underwhelming, which would make him fit the mold of standard characters pretty well. Characters who are still solid, but not must-pulls in a competitive sense. So, as much as people hate to hear it, Varka being standard isn't outside the realm of possibility. Then there's Alice. She's been a name floating around the lore forever, the great witch of the Hexenzirkel, Klee's mother, and someone who even has a character card and marketing presence already. The leak says she won't be playable in Nod Cray's main storyline, and this is where people just flat out call it rage bait. Why would Hoyo tease her so hard and then not deliver? And yeah, that skepticism makes sense. But again, think about Capitano in Natlan. He was heavily teased, featured in trailers, and then nothing. Completely benched as a non-playable NPC. It's not unprecedented for Hoyo to take a massively anticipated character and then pull the rug out. So while I don't want it to be true, because Alice would be an amazing playable addition, I can't dismiss it entirely either. Now here's the most interesting part, the leaker silence. When this rumor dropped, people asked the big names to confirm or deny it. And the answer was basically, they will not respond to this topic because it's too sensitive. At first, you might think that means it touches some kind of protected story content. But the reality is simpler. The leak community has become incredibly toxic when it comes to negative leaks. We've seen this in other games too, like Honkai, Star Rail, where reliable leakers got massive backlash for posting unpopular truths. Nobody wants to be the messenger that ruins the hype. If a leaker says, "Your most anticipated character is going to standard," or "This fan favorite isn't playable," the community reacts with anger, harassment, and doomer posting. And even if that info turns out correct later, the damage is done. It's kind of like when your friend knows bad news but doesn't want to be the one to ruin the vibe, so they just keep quiet. In the leak scene, that silence speaks louder than denial. We've seen it before. When leaks are actually false, reliable names jump in to debunk them quickly. But when it's something unpopular that might really be true, suddenly nobody says a word. That's why this silence around Varka and Alice has people paying even more attention. So what we're seeing here is not nobody can verify it, it's nobody wants to touch it. And that actually makes the rumor more credible, not less. Because if it was pure nonsense, big leakers would have no problem stepping in to debunk it. Silence usually means, we know it's true, but we don't want to deal with the fallout. Think about it this way. If you were running a business and you know that dropping a certain truth bomb is going to cause outrage, why would you confirm it months early? It's easier to let a smaller, unproven account like Duma take the heat. And that's exactly what's happening here. Most reliable sources are reposting Duma's info but not putting their name directly on it. That's not random, that's calculated. So, is it true? We can't say confirmed yet. We're still months away from 6.4 and 6.5. But when you line up the patterns, one standard 5-star per region, early kit impressions of Varka not being overpowered, Alice's case resembling Capitano's bait and switch, and most importantly, the silence from the most trusted leakers. It all points toward this info being more likely than people want to admit. And here's where I want to hear from you guys. Do you think Hoyo would actually put Varka in standard? After years of teasing him, do you think Alice could really be sidelined like Capitano? Or is this just another case of ragebait blowing up Reddit? Drop your thoughts in the comments because honestly, I think the truth will sting either way when we finally get to see it in the live streams. At the end of the day, leaks are always uncertain until official confirmation. But if history has taught us anything, it's that silence from the top leakers is sometimes the loudest answer of all. Thanks for hanging out with me on this one. If you enjoyed the breakdown and want more deep dives into Genshin leaks, patterns, and future content, don't forget to hit subscribe. That way you won't miss when we finally get confirmation on Varka, Alice, and the rest of the Nod Cry lineup. Save up to 25% on the current banners at lootbar.gg. All you need is your UID and server. The link is in the description.